6. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying integers. So we talked about already adding integers, subtracting integers, and now we're going to work on multiplying integers. Now when you're multiplying integers, there's two main rules you need to think about, and both of them have to do with the number of negative signs in your problem. So it says when multiplying integers, count the signs. So if there are an odd number of negative signs, like odd being numbers like 1, 3, 5, 7, anything like that, odd number of negative signs, your answer is going to be negative. So let's go ahead and look at two examples. The first example is negative 2 times 10 equals negative 20. Now, basically all you have to do in multiplying integers is multiply across and then let the number of signs determine whether your answer is going to be positive or negative. So we do 2 times 10, which gives us 20, and then we count up the negative sign. So I have one negative sign, and since 1 is an odd number, my answer is going to be negative. Alright, let's look at the second example. It says 3 times negative 4 equals negative 12. Now, so we just went ahead and multiplied across. 3 times 4 gives you 12, and then you count up the negative sign. So there's one negative sign here, and since 1 is an odd number, our answer is going to be negative. Okay, now if there is an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. Let's look at some examples. If we have negative 6 times negative 4, our answer is going to be positive 24. Because we multiplied 6 times 4, we got 24. And then we counted up that there's one negative sign here and one negative sign here. So 2 is an even number, so our answer is going to be positive. Alright, let's look at our second example. It says negative 2 times negative 8 equals positive 16. So we went ahead and multiplied 2 times 8 and we got 16. And then we counted up our negative signs. So there's 1, 2 negative signs, and since 2 is an even number, our answer is going to be positive. Okay, let's go ahead and do some examples. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 1. We have 6 times negative 10. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and multiply. So 6 times 10 gives me 60. So now I need to figure out what our sign is going to be. Is it going to be positive or negative? So I'm going to go ahead and count the negative signs. So there is one negative sign here. And since 1 is an odd number, our answer is going to be negative. Alright, let's look at example number 2. We have negative 5 times negative 3. So I'm going to first go ahead and multiply across. So 5 times 3 gives me 15. And now I'm going to go ahead and count up the signs to see if my answer is going to be positive or negative. So I have 1, 2 negative signs. So since 2 is an even number, our answer is going to be positive. So I'll leave it at 15. Okay, example number 3 says negative 7 times negative 7. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and multiply. So 7 times 7 gives me 49. And then I'm going to go ahead and count up the negative sign to see if this is going to be positive or negative. So I have 1, 2 negative signs. And since 2 is an even number, my answer is going to be positive. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 4. We have negative 1 times negative 3 times negative 4. So let's go ahead and multiply across. So 1 times 3 gives you 3, and 3 times 4 gives you 12. So now let's go ahead and count up our negative signs to see if our answer is going to be positive or negative. We have 1, 2, 3 negative signs. And since 3 is an odd number, our answer is going to be negative. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 5. We have 11 times negative 4. So first step, go ahead and multiply across. So 11 times 4 gives you 44. And then I need to figure out if my answer is going to stay positive or if it's going to be negative. So I'm going to count up the negative signs. I have one negative sign. And since 1 is an odd number, our answer is going to be negative. Alright, let's go ahead and look at example number 6. Alright, we have negative 2 times 4 times 5. So let's go ahead, first step, multiply across. We have 2 times 4, which gives you 8, and then 8 times 5, which gives you 40. And then let's figure out if it's a positive 40 or a negative 40. So we need to go ahead and add up our negative signs. We have one negative sign, and since 1 is an odd number, our answer is going to be negative. Alright, let's go ahead and do an example with variables. So it says FGH, which means F times G times H. So remember, when variables are right next to each other, it means multiplying. So F times G times H. If F is equal to negative 1, G is equal to 7, and h is equal to negative 10. So let's go ahead and write it out. So we have negative 1 times 7 times negative 10. So let's go ahead and start off by multiplying across. So we have 1 times 7, which gives you 7. And then we have 7 times 10, which gives you 70. And is it going to be a positive 70 or a negative 70? So let's go ahead and count up our negative signs to find out. So we have 1, 2 negative signs, so our answer is going to be positive. Alright, let's go ahead and do an example with a word problem. So we're going to have to read this word problem, be able to come up with our multiplication problem, and solve it. So let's go ahead and look at it. It says Tamara owns 100 shares of a certain stock. Suppose the price of stock drops $3 per share. Write an expression and solve. Okay, so we did our first step by reading our problem. Now let's go ahead and pick out some important information. So I see that she owns 100 shares. So that's an important part. She owns 100 shares of stock. And suppose the price of stock drops. When I hear the word drops, I'm kind of thinking that there's going to be a negative number in there somewhere because something's going down. And then we have $3 per share. So if we have $3 per share, that means we're going to be doing 3 times how many shares we have. So now we need to figure out how many shares does she have again? Oh yes, she has 100 shares. So we're going to multiply by that by 100. But we're missing something. When we see the word drops $3, that means it's going down $3, so it's going to be a negative $3. So we wrote our expression, and now let's go ahead and solve it. So how much is it going to drop completely? Because we have, it's going down $3 every share. So minus 3, minus 3, minus 3, minus 3. So let's go ahead and multiply it out. So we have 3 times 100, which gives us 300. And is it going to be a positive 300 or negative 300? Let's count up our signs. We have 1 negative sign, so our answer is going to be negative. So it's going down negative $300 total. Alright, make sure you have your notes completed. If you had any questions about these problems, go ahead and rewind it, watch it again. Come to class with your questions. Now you need to go ahead and do the on your own question. Alright, you have 5 problems to do tonight. Let's go ahead and look at the first one. We have negative 2 times 14. Number 2, we have negative 8 times 5. Number 3, we have negative 7 times negative 9. Number 4, we have negative 8 squared. And number 5, we have negative 3 times 2 times 5. Alright, we'll see what you get tomorrow. Good luck.